Hi, cozy hobby friends! This week I have been working very intently on my Stardew Valley crochet cardigan. I took some time off of work just to rest and relax before delivering these babies, and working on this project has brought me a lot of joy and relaxation. Since I have all this time right now, I have been working on trying to get as many of these complicated designs done as possible. This is my second attempt at tapestry crochet, and I will say, with all of the practice that I've been getting, I have been improving in that skill. I've been getting better at learning how to float the yarn, which means just stretching it across from one side to the other without warping the piece. Because when I initially tried doing this, the floated yarn pieces were too tight, so that made the square warp and curve a little bit. But now that I figured out the correct tension, I've been trying to float the yarn as much as possible so that I don't have a billion ends to weave, with one exception, which you'll see later. Designs such as this one, that don't span the entire width of the square, are the easiest to float. If you're curious how I chose the different pixel art, I actually picked them from a Stardew Valley cross-stitch book that my husband gifted to me years ago. It has a wide variety of really nice pixel art that I then recreated on a pixel art generator myself. I will link both of these resources in the description box below. Here you might be able to see that I am starting to create the iconic Stardew Valley chicken. For all of these designs, I simplified the colors. As I was working on these, I realized that the fewer the colors, the better. Then the color changes are not as complicated. And of course, there's fewer ends to weave in. It is a fine line deciding which colors to keep and which ones to simplify. For example, with this chicken, I realized that I still like the shading with the pixels. I felt that having the chicken be one color was a little bit too flat, so with many of these designs, I chose to keep the most high contrast colors. Even though the shading might look really nice on the computer, if they are too similar in color or low contrast, then I realized it was better to just stick with a single color. Can you guess which design I'm making here? Yes, it is indeed another chicken. The blue one this time. This design might actually be one of my favorites of all the ones that I made. I just really like the way the blue looks against the pink background. But here is an example of a pattern that spans almost the entire width of the square. So for designs like these, I would usually cut the colors on either side. I didn't want to float a pink strand of yarn from one end all the way to the other and risk it being too tight. It was worth all the extra work though, because the design ends up laying flat. That little pop of purple on its crown makes me so happy. I still can't believe that Concerned Ape built this entire game himself and did all the music and pixel art too. Truly a masterclass in self-learning. Here I am getting ready to make a prismatic shard. This was definitely one of the most complicated designs because of all of the different colors, and since I wanted to keep some of the shading, I pretty much had to use two colors for every single color in the rainbow. A light one and a dark one. I was actually pretty impressed that I had all of these different shades in my current yarn stash, but as you can imagine, there was a lot of weaving in that had to be done. Therefore, this patch took me almost 3 hours to complete. The rest of them didn't take nearly as long. I would say that it takes me about an hour to make the tapestry design, and then maybe another hour or even less to weave in the ends. This is why I am motivated to float my yarn ends more, so that each patch takes less time without me having to weave in ends. I am curious though, if you have a better way of dealing with yarn tails and yarn ends, please let me know. Towards the end, I actually ended up just tying together pieces of string that were close enough to one another instead of weaving them in. I figure since that's what you can do with cross stitch, why not try it here? I really hope those ends hold up, This is also another one of my favorite designs, the rabbit. I did forego a lot of the shading here, but I still really love how it turned out. I think the color combination is one of my favorites. Doesn't it remind you of a Neapolitan ice cream? Working on Tapestry Crochet has brought an unexpected amount of joy and challenge. I feel super accomplished after completing every single square. The challenging part is how it actually works my brain. Crochet can get a little monotonous because you are doing the same stitch over and over and over again, but creating these tapestry pieces works my brain a little. I now like figuring out when I have to do color changes. While working on this project, I'm looking at other people's crochet cardigans as reference. Some people said that they had to add an extra row to the bottom because otherwise it would be really cropped. So here I am trying to stitch something quickly together so that I can try it out on myself. I too had to add an extra row at the bottom. Here are all of the designs that I ended up creating in 1 week. 16 of them. I'm really proud of what I've accomplished so far and look forward to squeezing in a few more squares before these babies come. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of the different designs. Thank you so much for watching.